Hello, all you cool cats and kittens. I'm bored, and I've been mostly stuck at home for actually about 2 weeks-ish now. I've left a few times, but now I've been like really stuck at home. So I'm bored. So I thought I would do like makeup and murder mystery type shit. I'm watching a lot of YouTube and I've been seeing some videos where people are doing that. It seemed kind of like neat. So I'm gonna do that. I know that the dudes aren't as interested in the makeup, and you don't have to be. I'm gonna smoke while I do this though. Putting my phone up so I can be able to see. But yeah, so I'm bored. So I want to talk to y'all a little bit about the death of Rey Rivera. This is a Baltimore mystery. Give me 1 second. Let's get started. I know I look like garbage. I just washed my face off and stuff to get all the oil and stuff off my face in order to be able to do makeup. Got some palettes I'm going to be working with today, so I want to fuck around with those too as well. So I wanted to start out first off by, I guess, telling the precursor of the story. So, Rey Rivera was a financial writer from Baltimore. He was found deceased at the Belvedere Hotel. When they found him, he had come through a rooftop and was in a conference room that people didn't use very often and was just dead as fuck. They were like, what the fuck? What's going on here? In order to tell the whole story, we got to go back to 2006. Hello, hello, and hello, and hello, 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 hello. So to tell the story, we got to go back to 2006. So 2006, his body was found. The Belvedere Hotel is in Mount Vernon, I want to say, Baltimore. So if you pass it, next time you look at the sign, you can know that it goes to this story. Hi, Lila. I don't know what the fuck my child's doing in the other room. We ain't gonna worry about it. Hi, Mika. But, shit. But yeah, so the Belvedere Hotel. At first, they ruled his death a suicide, but nobody could figure out how someone could have committed suicide from jumping off a building and going straight into another building. That's the problem. Based on the building that he fell into and the place they believe he fell from, it doesn't make sense for that to be a suicide. And that was the Baltimore Police Department that decided that. So, now that we fast forward the story, we can start it from the beginning. It took place on May 24th, 2006, which is 14 years ago. To this day, it is still disputed. So let's tell the story. I'm going to start out with some primer. I wash my face. I really like Maybelline Max Prime, so that's one I use. It's pretty cheap. It's a good dupe of Smashbox, which is way more expensive. So, depends on what your budget is. So, Omar Rey Rivera was born June 10th, 1973 to Angel and Maria Rivera. At the time of his disappearance, he was a 32-year-old finance writer for Stanberry & Associates. He was also, he came out to Baltimore to work with a longtime friend who owned Stanberry & Associates as his videographer, and also to do some writings for him, right? The guy from Stanberry Associates, his name is Porter Stansberry, and he was also a writer for the investment firm. So, Ray went missing from his residence on May 16th. On May 16th, shit, I should have put water on my fucking blendy ball. That's a bad mistake, don't do that. I swore it was already wet, but it's been a minute since I was in here. So now we gotta do this back over again. Alright, so the day he disappeared, he got a phone call on May 16th and ran out the fucking house. The other person that was there said that he was on the phone call or whatnot, and that he just seemed really distressed and ran out the building. Sorry. Just trying to make sure it's even. So he ran out. For several days after that, they knew nothing about him. They didn't know where he went. They just knew he just disappeared. So for days leading up to that, the wife is doing news and shit stories, and she's like, where'd my husband go? We don't know where he went. You know, like, what's going on with him? I also have eyelid primer too as well I'm going to use. But, you know, she goes on the news and she's like, I haven't seen my husband. Nobody knows where he went. We can't find his vehicle. And we have no information about his whereabouts. So during this time period, she's like on WBLT TV, a bunch of other shit, and she's on the internet, like asking people to kind of sleuth it and figure out what's going on. Like, you know, figure out what his last whereabouts were, all that shit. A few days later, they find his car. When they find his car, it's like at an overflow parking that's right near the Belvedere Hotel. So they see on it what time that he got there and shit, and they're like, okay, well, he got to this building on so-and-so date. It's the same date or something like that. But we can't figure out where he went from there. They checked the hotel. Nobody's registered under his name. Motherfucker just disappeared, right? So the whole time they were just trying to figure out clues of where he went. You know, his best friend, the guy that works for that company, says where he's like, you know, we'll do everything we got to do to find out where he went. You know, this, that, and the third. This is actually like creaseless concealer. I love it. It's like by Tarte. I got it as like a sample, but I'm never gonna buy it because I don't spend money like that. But they, so they go ahead and they, the guy says, you know, I'll put a reward for him, and they kind of continue to just drum up more attention for the story. Because at this point, they still don't have any indication to where he could have possibly went. Doop, doop, doop. Yeah, I got a little bit of a honker, so I like to, that wasn't a good word. Less honked, less pointed, less like a beak. Yeah, less like a beak. I love my nose, but it is what it is. So, from there, they're still searching. People are finding out other clues. I forgot what I was about to do next. I guess I'll work on my eyes right now. Yeah, they're just trying to figure out where the fuck the guy went. At some point, they, I'm like looking at the article at the same time too, just to kind of remind me of where things were at. Oh yeah, so they found his car at St. Paul. So if anyone knows where St. Paul is, and you have a good general idea where the Belvedere is then, right? This is Fenty. I love Fenty stuff. But I think I need to find a lighter color for myself though. But the coworkers went to the top, found the car, and then that's when they noticed the hole in the roof. So keep in mind they had already checked out where the car was at, right? And they kind of like, okay, we got a car, da 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 da. But where did he go from there? We don't see him in any hotel footage. You know, we don't know what the fuck's going on. So they don't see him in any hotel footage. But now they see, the car is here. That is very, very important. Where's the car? So at some point they notice a hole in the roof of the south wing of the Belvedere Hotel. I wish I knew where my other phone was, because then I could actually show you a map of the hotel. But basically, he went diagonally. But where he was at, the 13th floor, and where he went, he had to go down. So, at some point, they have the police go over there. They figure out where the hole went or not. And they conclude, shit, there's a body here. And it's decomposed, because it's been like, I want to say like 10 days or some shit now. So, they find the body, and they're like, what the fuck? How the fuck did his body get here? From where he had to have fallen from, and where this hole was, it would have taken a lot of force for him to go through the brick, then go into the wall, and then land on this floor. I'm not a physicist, but that would take a lot of force for a human being to be able to fly through this wall and be still mostly intact. Now we have a real investigation. Put this out for a second, just so I can finish my eyes. So now we got a real investigation, right? They have a body. But now that they have a body, that guy Stansberry, his friend, well, that motherfucker don't want to deal with the police now. So he actually gets a court order that they can't bother him unless they have a warrant. Real good friend, right? Alright, right now I'm going to conceal like part of my eyes. And then start doing that. Do my eyebrows and shit. Because my eyebrows are really raggedy right now. They normally like on point, but whatever. I haven't been going anywhere, obviously. So, you know, this is what we're rocking with. So, dude lawyers up. He says, I don't want to fuck with you guys right now. Truth be told, come back when you got some evidence or some shit. Or a warrant. So, that motherfucker's like, not good news, basically, is what I got from that. Because if that was my friend, I wouldn't be lawyering up. I'd be still waiting to figure out what happened to him, right? So he lawyers up. The wife is blown. She's like, the fuck? How the fuck you going? I thought you were his friend. Alright, now I'm about to use eyeshadow primer. So they begin to like analyze the case and shit, right? So they're trying to figure out how the fuck did Ray get from here to here. Now I'm reading part of like the case too as well, so I can remember shit because it's been a while. Because I'm gonna jump actually after these parts and get to the behind the scenes shit. So basically, consider the horizontal distance between the hotel tower and the location of the hole at the lower roof, a distance unlikely to have been covered by a person jumping from one tower to another. The vertical distance is approximately 50 meters. The building height is 188 feet, by the way, 57 meters. Would have suggested that it would have taken 3.3 seconds. This suggests that if he did not come from the roof, he traveled at a horizontal distance of 45 feet. So before impact, he would have at least had to be going at a horizontal speed of 4.2 meters per second, which is 15 miles per hour, by the way, or 15 kilometers an hour, between a fast jog or a sprint for an average fit male wearing shorts and shoes. He was wearing flip-flops at the time, or barefoot, because they think they found one flip-flop, but they didn't find the other one. So this motherfucker apparently jumped barefoot or with flip-flops from a 57-story building 50 meters down at a speed of 15 kilometers an hour. Hey Google, what is 15 kilometers of an hour? How's that an MPH?
15 kilometers per hour is 9,
so he's going 9 miles an hour.
Miles per hour.
It doesn't seem like that fast, but think about when you're cruising through like a pedestrian neighborhood at 25. So a little bit under half of that is the speed he had to fly to go through this fucking building. So, I'm going to move on to eyes. This is like my favorite palette, the Nubian. It's got a lot of good light colors as well. As I said, I'm going to use part of this chocolate bar one, and I'm also going to use my Morphe bronze palette. It's been through some times, but, you know, I love it. It's great. So, they don't know how the fuck that happened. Obviously. They also don't know, why that would have happened. Why would a person be jumping? Not only would someone be committing suicide and jump from that big ass building and not really be trying to hit the ground. Like, he obviously wasn't trying to hit the ground. He was aiming or some shit. Doesn't make no sense, right? So then, obviously, how can you rule it a suicide? Yada yada yada. Don't make sense. So I'm gonna jump away from that part of the story to start telling some of his background story now. So, as I said, Ray was a writer. He was a finance writer, but he also wrote in his free time as well. And he was also, as I said, he moved out to Maryland to help out his homeboy, right? Is this foundation here? Now, how y'all gonna let me sit with this crusty spot right here? Y'all phony. But anyways, so I think I'm gonna go to Put something in my crease. Feeling very creasy right now. Maybe do like a cut crease and like a light color here. I don't know yet. So anyways, he moved out here to help out his homeboy, right? And then during the time that he came out here to help out his homeboy, he got really into like the Freemasons and shit. So like, his wife said that like it kind of became a hobby at first. And like he would get books and shit. But then it started getting to the point where he would like just watch documentaries on Freemasons. And so the whole time she kind of just like, oh, you know, he's just into Freemasons right now, right? It's just what he's into. That's cool. That's cool. It's just my husband being weird, right? My husband's suddenly into Freemasons. And he started acting a little weird. Oh, let me use like this little like shimmery cocoa color over here. So like he's really into these Freemasons and shit, right? And he's spending a lot of time with the Stansbury guy. Stansbury guy, he's under a little bit of a question too, because apparently he was doing some sketchy shit and had homeboy like investigating it for him, right? During the time all this was going on, people kept trying to break into Ray's house. So at a point now, it's like a few times, I guess, before he had originally went missing, he had went outside, so there's people outside and shit. He also like said like he was getting threats, you know, like that he couldn't place anywhere and shit like that. Basically the whole time he's just like, hey, some shit's going on, right? And then we know he got the phone call and then ran the fuck out the house and wasn't like dressed to be jumping off a fucking roof. Not to say that there's like a certain attire, I guess, to jump off of a roof. I'm just saying that like for someone to choose that day, I guess, to be suicidal seemed very weird from his normal behavior, is what his wife said. Alright, I'm gonna fucking blast some of that out. I think it's like a little too brown. Okay, well, we'll figure out that crease in a second. So, anyways, they fucking, they end up just basically trying to push that suicide thing, even though obviously he said somebody was trying to harass him and bother him before all that, obviously. Like, it's documented, you know? So, obviously the guy wasn't crazy. And the fact that his wife obviously said that he normally doesn't do certain behavior, so why would he suddenly do it now? Because he didn't. So, going back to the story again, talking about the Freemasons thing. So, a few weeks after, I guess they find his body and shit, she finds a letter that's been taped behind the computer. And a lot of it is like him talking in code and shit. So, he's talking about like his favorite movies. Oops, shit, I didn't mean to do that, my bad. Flip that back. Flip that back. I want you to see like my wasp spray and all my other shit on the floor. So yeah, like, so she finds a letter behind his computer. And the letter is in a bunch of code. So it's talking about stuff that's like his favorite movies, some of his favorite books, just things that were really important and valid to, you know, his life. And it was written really weird, like to stuff like, if you ever want to know something about me, then this is the stuff that you need to find. And stuff was in certain orders. Now, nobody's tried, like, I don't know, tried, but nobody's cracked the code as of now, I guess, of what exactly it was. But they know that it mentioned different movies. As I said, different books. Shit, missed. Just different stuff that, different references to things that were very, very specific. I got like all this red on my nose now. Idiot. Just trying to like smear it and fix it, and then I just like smeared it all over my face. Boy, oh boy. So, yeah, I know it sucks because I'm not supposed to be getting up too much, so I'm like trying to do everything from my bed as of now, which is a lot harder than it sounds. I know I still look like a ghost. I'm gonna get all this shit off. Just give me a minute. I'm not there yet. So the letter referenced a few things. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Yada 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 da 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 da. The guy put a gag order, and then the confusing note. The note. Let me see if I can find the note real quick. Rey Rivera note. So the note was the big thing because it talked about a bunch of weird shit. But it wasn't weird, though. It was very specific. So obviously it's something more today. So it begins saying, brothers and sisters, right around now, all the world's volcanoes are erupting. What an awesome sight. Whom virtue unites, death will not separate. The last part is apparently a Masonic phrase. But what wasn't covered was that, like, he also bought a book of Freemasons for Dummies, like, right before he died. And then he all of a sudden, like, had an interest in being a screenwriter as well. I guess it wasn't, like, a new interest, but it was just a interest. But basically he talks about how he just went on a look to find the truth, and he tells people he's very inspired by Meet Joe Beck, Minority Report, The Born Identity, and, like, Lord of the Rings, shit like that. So basically, during that time period, he obviously was trying to figure something else out in life. Like, obviously, he did feel a little bit lost. So maybe what his wife said wasn't necessarily all the truth. You know, is that he did have stuff he was still trying to figure out, obviously, in life. And that, I'm not going to say he was suicidal, but he definitely was, like, beginning to question existence, right? Or question what his role was in the world. Which, everybody has those questions. So, it's not like, it's not like he's a bad person for them. But maybe the way that he was trying to find the answers was maybe not the best way. And maybe it's something to do with the guy, right? I hate this light. This light sometimes a little too bright. And we're getting there. So, so Freemason shit. So, like, obviously he was into some shit and left a bunch of codes because he wanted people to figure out what the fuck he was doing. Like, he didn't want, he obviously probably began to think, whatever I'm doing, somebody may not want me to do it. Or, hell, my eyebrow stuff. It's my eyebrow stuff. I can't find it. No. Shit. So basically, during that time period, obviously, things aren't all as they appear. You know, like, obviously he was looking for answers somewhere, and he was trying to seek them. I found my eyebrow stuff. He was trying to seek them from a secondary source, which is obviously how he got into the Freemasons and stuff. The question of what role his friend plays in it, we don't really know. But all we do know is that this motherfucker flew from the 13th floor into the side of a building with flip-flops on. There's no way, no possible way that man jumped. Hello, Miss Tisa. All is well. I'm still in bed, so I just kind of just doing some weird makeup murder mystery thing, I guess. I don't know. I'm just being a weirdo, getting stoned, putting on makeup. But, so, you know, the information that we do know is that he flew from the one building to the other building. We know that he got a phone call before everything happened and that he ran out the house. We know that he parked at that parking garage at the Belvedere. But the other question, too, we still haven't figured out quite is how the fuck did he get to the rooftop? So we covered all the other stuff. We covered that he was into some weird stuff or whatever right before he died. We covered that his friend had him doing some weird stuff before he died. But why the fuck was he on the roof of the Belvedere Hotel? Out of all the hotels in Baltimore. Why that one? And then again, if he was suicidal, why is it not directly in a note? Now, it's not to say that everyone suicidal leaves a note, but in this case, of all intents and purposes, if he had a reason why he would just want to, you know, expire himself, even though he was, you know, a married man who had a wife that cared about him, why would he have chose to do it then? So we talk about all the Masonic stuff, we talk about all the other stuff, but then it comes back to the, so how did it happen? How did he go through this rooftop and then, oh shit, my eyeshadow's broken. Yeah, I just broke all over my bed. As I was saying, so then the question leads now to, so, how did he get through the roof? Why did he go through the roof? And, well, I guess those are the main questions. How did he get through the roof? Why did he go through the roof? We don't know that, obviously. That's the biggest problem that we have about the whole mystery, is that there's no actual evidence explained to us why he would want to jump, or the other big question, who did he meet on the rooftop? You just don't go to a very fancy hotel in Baltimore and jump off of it, not tell anyone you're planning on jumping off of it, but nobody knows how you got there. And nobody knows who's up there with you. Now, I look a lot better than I started, I think. What do you think? So, again, that's the whole big $1 million question, is what happened to Rey Rivera? How did he fly through a roof and then get to another roof at a speed that a human being doesn't normally go? Fix this a little bit. A speed that human beings don't normally go is a lot better, but a speed that human beings don't normally go, and then going from one rooftop to another rooftop, and nobody knows how he got up there, how long he was up there before he was thrown or fell or whatever, why, and then the other big question of, well, how? Did somebody, I'm using like a holographic primer as well. The other primer I used, not primer, highlighter. The other highlighter I used actually is this one. It's awesome. It's got like 3 really great shades. I really like this first one. Vacation. Vacation is the one I like. That's the one I use on my nose a lot. But I also have a holographic one that I like to use in the corner of my eyes. Back to what I was saying is that, so the question that comes back to is, why did Rey Rivera go to the 13th floor of that other hotel, of the hotel, and then jump or be thrown, into, I don't know which one I'm using. I'm either going to use Fenty or Kat Von D. I hate Kat Von D. Oh, she's talking about Criminal Minds. Criminal Minds isn't bad. But if all of that stuff happened, I guess there's a lot of questions. If all that stuff happened, why would the Baltimore Police Department rule it a suicide? There's enough evidence of a suicide. So why would they try and rule it that in the first place? Oh, my Fenty getting a little dry. Fenty getting a little dry. But, why would they rule it that? Then secondly, why did the best friend, supposed best friend, BFF, the whole reason this dude moved there, why would he do a gag order on his employees to not be able to talk to the popo about his best friend that moved there? It's messed up my eyeliner. His best friend that moved there to help him out. Now, if that don't fucking sound sketchy, I don't know what. Then, his weird ass, letter. Nobody just writes a weird ass Masonic letter for no reason. Like, nobody just does that. Nobody writes weird messages and codes just for nobody to ever find them. This is not a weird movie. People don't do that. People write things in code because they want it to be found. So, obviously, Ray wanted his info to be found out. He wanted people to know that something might happen to him. That's why he wrote that weird-ass letter and stuck it behind his computer. But the thing is that how he knows this shit was going to happen to him. And I guess the other thing is that I wonder if he knew that it was going to be this fucked up. If he knew his ass was going to get thrown out of the building and be on Unsolved Mysteries. Thank you, Miss Donika. Probably because all my makeup's on now. You didn't see the beginning. The beginning, I looked terrible. Everybody's watching me like get pretty. This is ox blood. But, yeah, I know I would be terrible at doing this as, like, a regular business, because I can't remember, I'm, like, not even naming my products I'm using. Like, I use some shit over here, some shit over there. Like, just, I would be terrible at this. I wanted to try and see how this gold color looked with the ox blood. Because it's like a gold, yeah, it's pretty gold, actually. I don't like more gold peach. Should have swapped it first. Should have did a swatch first. I said swatch. Should have did a swatch first. So I could see how it was gonna look. Yeah, I should have did a swatch test. Let me see. Let me look at it back here. It's not too bad. Definitely need more brown on the cheeks though. Oh, but back to what I was saying. So even if we consider everything that happened, right? The idea of death, like Rey's death being a suicide, doesn't make sense. It just doesn't. It doesn't fit. And the problem is that if it's not a suicide, somebody fucking killed him. So if somebody fucking killed him, who the fuck is it? Yeah, like, who's the guy? Or girl? Or person, I don't know. Or like fucking pigeon, I don't know. But somebody did it. And then the other big thing about the case that it still makes it weird is the fact that nobody still yet has figured out mathematically how someone could go from the 13th floor, crash into a wall, still be intact. And I say intact, it sounds really dark, but you know what I mean. Like, he didn't, you know, he didn't get all jacked up. I mean, he got jacked up. He didn't get as jacked up as someone you would expect from flying from that height. I'm trying to put all my makeup away now. Do my little spray. See all the work that women do? I put on a bunch of makeup at 10 o'clock at night for no fucking reason. Just to talk to about a murder mystery to you guys. It's the only reason why I did this. It's just easier to do something at the same time while I'm telling a story. Because I get ADD like shit, and then I get distracted, and then I don't finish. But, yeah, as I said, I've been thinking about this shit a lot lately. I watched the episode a few weeks ago, but I started thinking more about it in the past few days. Because, sorry, I'm gonna fix my, oh god, I just got ketchup all over my legs. Oh, I just knocked over my mic. Oh, I gotta get my life together. Yeah, eating a hot dog from 7-Eleven. Shout out 7-Eleven. I need to make mukbang videos. Just sit there and eat on camera. People send me money. Send me food. Just eat all day. Nom nom noms. But some of the palettes used tonight. Morphe palette, Bronze Goals. I love this palette. It is absolutely amazing. I also use this highlighter from Shrewd Complexion. It is Black Radiance. Oh, it's so beautiful. I also use Too Faced Chocolate Bar. It's also a very excellent one. I used, I don't know what fucking shades, some of the shades on there. And then for my, I do a very light contour because I have great cheekbones. Got them from my mama. I do a little bit of this. But I don't use the contour shade at all. I only use the sculpting shade. The contour shade is too fucking dark. So it just makes me look weird. I look weird and muddy. It's not the right color for my complexion. I mean, I've been following it for a while. I heard about the case a long time ago. Yeah, if he knew he was going to die, his wife would know something, right? She just like, oh no, my husband's not suicidal. Thank you, madam. You know, but she's like, yeah, well, and my husband, why would he do that? We just got married, life is great. And I was like, maybe life wasn't great for him. But I'm sorry, if my man is out there looking up some Freemason shit, like Freemasons is kind of like, that's some fringe stuff. You gotta like really look for information about that kind of shit. So, if my husband is suddenly getting books about Freemasons for dummies and he didn't before, then something's weird. Something is off. maybe you and your husband should have had a conversation about that. But obviously, for whatever reason, they didn't. And then the other thing about he only wore shorts and flip-flops, which is, I don't know. I feel like if you know you were going to die, you probably would dress nicer. And I'm not saying that if someone commits suicide, they would dress nice. I'm just saying that if I don't want to sound dark, but if this was my thought process, I would want to look nice. Yeah, I would. I would definitely want people to find me looking nice. Now, that's not to say that that's everybody's thought process. I'm just saying that's my own thought process. So just remember that this video is the opinions of me and not the opinions of everyone. You know, this is me just talking about my own point of view of it. This shit is tight. There. Whew, that shit was tight. It was like suffocating my fucking head. I know how Monique be feeling with her little tight ass one she got on her head. Because I tried to get new hair bands and they don't, I think, make the ones I use on my head anymore. This one's too tight. But he wrote the note. The friend decided to get the gag order on all his employees so that nobody could talk about what was going on or give their own opinions. We know he was investigating something for that company as well. Yeah, at least wear sneakers. If you plan on just jumping to get out of the way of people attacking you. Then the other thing is they didn't find any bullets or anything on the roof. So they didn't find bullets or anything on the roof. For the most part, we know that there was no bullet altercation. It was like no shootout, okay? So if he did run, again, it's like, how did he run 9 miles an hour? And it's not to say you can't run 9 miles an hour, but to run 9 miles an hour on the top of a rooftop and keep your speed going enough to go through brick and into a wall. He didn't go into a window and go onto a floor. He went through a fucking wall. Let me see if I can get the pictures right now of this wall. Rey Rivera wall. Like, if you think about it, it's just not, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, and it doesn't, based on everything we know about logic and about science, you don't have to be someone that's really deep into science to understand when something doesn't sound right. And then the fact that the Baltimore Police Department, you know, they have such a shining reputation. They were really quick to say it was a suicide. And they were really quick to just kind of like, okay, well, it was a suicide, and it was very sad, and we're sorry, and we wish the family the best. And the only reason why they started reopening shit was because of the things where the people were trying to break in his house, and he was getting threatening calls, and just all types of weird shit was going on right before that, coincidentally going on. But the thing that always pops out to me is that hole. I think about a person just flying at a speed and how much a person weighs. Because I feel like he was like 6'3", 6'2". Probably like 220, 230. How do you fly through a wall and make a hole? And then nobody even knows that hole was there for like 10 days. And I know they said that the area is not used a lot, but the other people in the other building, nobody looked out their window one day and said, you know, that hole wasn't there before. I should probably tell somebody about that. Nah, I'm gonna mind my business. La-di-da-di-da. You know. So, and the thing is that the guy that went up there, and I feel for the guy, it was like an old black man. He went up there and he just said he just smelled the body before he found the body. He just said he smelled it because it'd been sitting there for 10 days. So that tells you that anybody that probably would have went on that floor would have smelled the body. So, again, that arises a lot of questions. I know that the Belvedere Hotel is a big hotel and they got lots of floors and shit, but there's too many things that are weird about the situation. So if we say the scenario that, let's say he met somebody up there, because that's what we're assuming happened. He met somebody up there. They had some beef or whatever. Homeboy pushes him. Even if you push somebody, how do you push them with enough force to be built from them falling for them to go through a brick wall? So then you got another scenario. Drop from a helicopter. Now that theory is cool, but they found his cell phone, just like I think a cracked screen, intact. Or that it was placed there after. I don't know. Sounds like bullshit to me. It's just my opinion. And it's not even like I know this guy or I'm that invested. It's more that I'm very interested in mysteries, but I'm also very interested in people getting closure. And even though it's a sensationalized story, it's still a person that's no longer on this earth now. And we don't know why. His family doesn't know why. But beyond the wife, his extended family doesn't even know why. And that someone that was supposed to be his best friend ain't talking. Now, I know if something happened to my best friend, you'd see me on every station. And especially if I had means. That guy had means. If I had money, billboards all the time. I'd make sure that I paid for him to be on the station at least once a day if people like, you know what happened to Rey Rivera. If that was your best friend and you have means to do so, which he did. You know, a lot of us don't have the means to pay for billboards. He did. He had the money to put up originally a reward before his body was found. But then once his body was found, the reward went away. And as I said, he gag ordered all his employees to shut the fuck up and not talk to the police. It just makes you think not only just about just the corruption of police, because at the end of the day, I don't know if the police are involved, but they're not involved because of the fact that they didn't take the time to truly investigate the case. Or I feel like they could have done more. And I know everyone says, oh, well, you know, they got a lot to do, yada, yada, yada. I get it, but this was a pretty big profile case. You could still look it up online on YouTube and see the original, like, footage from the shit. You can go on Unsolved Mysteries right now and watch it yourself on Netflix. So obviously the story is important enough for people to talk about it. But again, it just builds that question of not only like who can you trust, because obviously Ray wasn't around people he could probably trust, but also too the kinds of stuff that we put ourselves in. So if we put ourselves in a situation where, let's say he was up with the Freemasons and maybe he was writing a story about them or some shit, or he was doing, so remember he was a writer. Maybe he was doing some shit to try and like expose the Freemasons or something. Or maybe he was trying to be a part of the Freemasons. Regardless of all that, and whatever he was doing, unless he directly is involved in trying to end somebody else's life, he didn't have the right to be dead. And he definitely didn't have the right to be murdered like that. And the fact is I say murdered because there's not enough evidence for me to believe that's a suicide. So that's my only opinion. I think I screwed up on the toilet over here. Yeah, I did. I'm going to have to fix that because it looks kind of goofy. But, yeah. Yeah, his best friend needs to be arrested, period. He needs to be talking. He knows something. Whether he knows very little, he knows some shit. And until he talks about what he knows, that's just another loose end. And because that's another loose end, even people stop talking about it, you know, now. In a few years, we're going to talk about it again. And then in a few years, we're going to talk about it again. Because the thing is that as human beings, we have a curiosity to the macabre. It's dark. It's a dark story. But it's a dark story that has a mystery that even the most intelligent minds can't figure out. None of us can figure out what the fuck happened to this guy and how he went from the 13th floor of that other building into the fucking Belvedere in the conference room. That part is the part of the story that we don't fucking know. It don't make no sense. And you can't make it make sense unless you can fill out the blanks. I forgot I had this big ass gulp from 7-Eleven. Hell yeah. 7-11 points, baby. 7-11 points, baby. But yeah, I thought it was an interesting story. Nobody told me my septum was crooked. Y'all bad people. But I thought it was an interesting story because one, it takes place in Baltimore. Two, it also it's a mystery. And I drive past the Belvedere all the time, so it's like every time I look at it now, I'm like, I'm gonna figure out what that Ray mystery is. I'm gonna figure it out, you guys. I'm gonna be the one to figure it out. But I've been trying to find transcripts of his daggone the letter, so that I can actually like see the little parts and see all the little references that he makes to all those little movies. Because the thing is, there might be like a line in every one of those movies or something. You know, I might throw my bloody ball in there. There might be a line in like every one of those movies that might tell the story. Like it might be like one line from each movie that says like Ray's been killed because he was thrown out of a helicopter. You know, some shit. I don't know if y'all watch Doctor Who. Doctor Who's like my favorite shit. But there's an episode of Doctor Who where I don't want to like ruin Doctor Who for people that have never seen it, but it's such a good episode. There's an episode of Doctor Who, I don't remember the title of the episode, but the whole point of the episode is that this girl that's in this time, it keeps getting these clues in all these different movies, right? And each clue is like a piece of video, and all the video lines up to make one whole video. And this guy says, oh yeah, the guy that works at the video store, he started like, oh yeah, I've watched all of them. Yeah, there's like little pieces in all these movies. So they put them all together and they find like the whole story. And they realize they can talk, almost talking to the video, but they're not. The video is lining up in real time for them, but the video was recorded in the past. But once they line up the whole video, it lines up with the present. And that's kind of like how I look at the whole Rey Rivera thing. Is that there's a possibility that all those videos, maybe if we figure out the order of the videos, might tell the story, or at least give a bigger hint to who the fuck is involved. Because he didn't write it for no reason. Nobody writes a whole code for no reason. Nobody does that. Like, nobody takes the time to, I'm going to write this whole weird-ass letter and tape it to the back of my computer so that my wife later on finds it, to just be like, oh, well, that's it. Fuck that. I don't know if I'm going to solve the Rey Rivera mystery. But I'm going to try. Because I feel like Rey deserves more than that. I don't even know Rey. I don't even know Rey from nobody. But I do believe that his story definitely deserves a lot more attention. Sorry, I'm like looking up the letter right now. Rivera code letter. Because I want to see if somebody actually has it broken all the way down. I imagine somebody has, because somebody else probably was like me, like, justice for Rey Rivera. Lock up Porter Stansberry. Fuck that guy. That guy's shit. And I don't even know if he involved. Like, truth be told, the other guy. I don't know. But what I don't know is he not involved? That's the real shit. And my thing is, again, back to the whole gag order shit. If something happens to my friend, I'm going to be doing everything I can find out to figure out what the fuck happened to my friend. Here we go. Found the note. Continue. Click. Just open, yeah. Oh my god, I hate when stuff like tries to make me open in another app. I don't want to do all that. I just want to see the code. Like everybody else wanted to see the goddamn code. Okay. Did he do it? Continue. Okay. Alright. So we're going to read the whole note. I found it. Thank you, Reddit. Let's make it spooky. Brothers and sisters. Right now around the world, volcanoes are erupting. What an awesome sight. Virtue and its more non-separable. Whom virtue unites, death will not separate. That was a well-played game. Congratulations to all who participated. I hope you liked it. But it was time to wake up, so here I am. I'd like to welcome those who've accepted our invitations to membership during the game. Well, we couldn't have done it without you. I look at this endeavor to find the truth. But for its own sake, in accepting this quest for truth, I hope to wake myself with the help of others into a man ready to be worthy to receive it. Members of the council, please note that I will lend a peaceful concentration to the traditional responsibilities in light of the proceedings, and I will gladly or sadly to the standard request of the council within appropriate time. Again, all who participated, I accept the council has invited all the players who gave their lives to Pursuit back, so they might join us. Hence here, Tom something, Rayburn, Blackholder, question mark, John, line, and Stanley Kubrick. Farewell thee, Bob Rosenberg. Now, now that the game's finished, I expect the council to recompensate all who have given to the venture. Along with myself, these players should be made 5 years younger by the council, and then like names off a bunch of people, like his mom, his dad, just a bunch of people. Porter Stansberry, brothers and sisters, our land of achievements has seen that a new game has begun. So there's like a bunch of shit that's like water damage and shit, so you can't read it. Of course, right? But then it's like no, my shit's unraveling. Yo, I hate that. But it says VCD, DVD, HD, the human genome, genetic engineering, cloning, Sudoku, the Ford cell, overnight express shipping, Wi-Fi, Ethernet, MPEG, JPEG, MP3, Invisalign. It just names off a bunch of weird shit. It says my primary residence, which includes a beautiful piece of property. A beautiful piece of property in northern Argentina. I'm told, mansion, Buenos Aires. Well done, Porter. So why are we back to talking about the guy again? Porter's the best friend. And he's mentioned twice in this letter so far. He wrote something that dude needs to be compensated, but he also wrote that he got a residence in Argentina. In Europe, you can't visit me at the flat or Madrid, although if I'm in Spain, I'll probably be in blank blank. In Asia, you'll be able to find me in Thailand. Another job well done, Porter. Porter being the friend again, so that's 3 references. I will keep the bad houses in Felice, California, and the house in San Francisco. Although I'll be looking for a new place in Baltimore and perhaps other cities. Now, this is the part where, obviously, that whole bunch of letters tells us some weird shit, right? Tells us that there was some sort of game going on, that people played into it, that people paid into it as well, and that somebody won and somebody lost. Now, I'd like to briefly mention some movies, books, and music I found very inspired and compelling. I'd like to meet any of you who contributed to any of these works. So, he wrote this letter. Now we're saying, assuming it's the Freemasons letter or whatever. And we're assuming he is a Freemason now. Because he's talking to brothers and sisters, and saying, I'm hoping I'm going to meet you other people that are on. Because these other people that wrote these books are on. Like, they're known, they're either known directors, known writers, known actors, known something or other. So, Matrix 1, 2, and 3, Family Man, National Treasure, The Da Vinci Code, Eyes Wide Shut, Confessions on the Dance Floor, Demon Days, November Rain, Meet Joe Black, Minority Report, Star Wars 1 to 3, Lord of the Rings 1 to 3, Fight Club 7, The Game, Payback. And specifically, let me say that M. Night Shyamalan continues to come with great ideas and great endings to movies. I really enjoyed his movies. Sixth Sense, The Village, The Others, Signs, and Unforgettable. The final section, people couldn't really read. So, this man wrote a long-ass fucking letter and stuck it behind his computer. Mentioned a bunch of movies by, a lot of these are by the same people. Like Eyes Wide Shut is Stanley Kubrick. He mentioned Stanley Kubrick earlier. Looking at some of these too, like Da Vinci Code and shit like that. So maybe he used some of those. You know what I think he did? So he used some of these movies to do that game. We're into some shit, yo. He lists the game of Michael Douglas, and he mentions a game multiple times in his note. At the end of the movie, Michael Douglas jumps off a building and concludes the end of the game that has been playing the whole movie. I feel like Porter and maybe the others were running the game on Ray because he was so into this stuff and it got out of hand. The others who found the hole after all, and then there was a gag order. I believe Ray, and these are comments from people on Reddit. I believe that Ray became acutely aware that he was enlisted or sequestered to work for his best friend in order to serve as a fall guy for their deceptive practices. So I don't know. You cats and kittens. What do you think? You think Porter has something to do with it? You think Ray is part of the Illuminati or the fucking Freemasons or whatever? Do you think that he killed himself? Do you think he was murdered? Do you think he killed himself because of the game? Do you think he was murdered because of the game? Do you think he exposed the game? Like, why were people trying to come to his house excuse me, a week before he passed. I put all this makeup on, y'all. Y'all people that came in late, y'all missed all that. I put my whole makeup on the whole time. It was great. I'm glad y'all sat through that. I don't know if I would have sat through that, but I appreciate y'all for doing it. It was fun to do. It was fun. Oh, I didn't use one of my new favorite ones. Oops, you can't see it. It's Foiled Again by the Balm. I love the Balm a lot. They're like awesome. Got some cool colors in there. A lot of metallics though. Or I should have probably put a metallic like on the center. Oh. Yeah. I should have put that on earlier. See, y'all was letting me fuck up around here. And I should have put like a little bit of a darker one right here. Okay. I don't even have my tools out no more, yo. Look at that. Look at that. I know my trousers is mine in the other room. Yeah. I need to like blend that a little bit better, but yeah, feel a little bit. Not a bad look. It's like a little daytime, maybe a little daytime, go into the nighttime type look or some shit. I don't know. Just did my makeup to do nothing, to do this. Literally, that's it. Got my last bit of weed right here. Some dog shit. Hey, shout out to the throne for that one. Oh, that's right. But thank you for watching and going on this adventure with me. It was fun to talk about. We got to do it again. Talk a little murder mystery. I'll find out some more unsolved shit to talk about. We can talk about the Ray thing again if we want to. But it's been real. I'm gonna finish my little last piece of blunt. Put my child to bed. Or in a bath. I think I'm gonna put him in a bath. Then I might play Call of Duty. I don't know. But thank you for watching. Namaste. I'm glad you were here. Glad we got to talk murder mysteries. It was a good time. And stay lifted.